along with probably most people, were saying at the beginning, oh, by the 4th of July, somebody had to think how the economy was going to be tanked by then. The stock market is at record high.
It seems Bill's slowly coming around. I reckon he's a tariff away from sunbathing at Mar-a-Lago. Because we see time and time again, the media quickly brand Trump's moves an impending failure. Then they fall flat on their faces. But Trump's like a pool shark, always thinking 3 shots ahead.
You want drama? Let's talk about the epic crash burn of mainstream media as Greg Gutfeld slammed their anti-Trump fantasy live on air. And get this, he actually defended Bill Maher. Yes, that Maher. Gutfeld didn't just push back, he shredded the media's double standards with laser focus. The meltdown was raw. No escape, just embarrassment and busted storylines. Could it be? Is the liberal media finally starting to admit Trump's wins can't be ignored? And is Maher the proud liberal voice slowly getting dragged into MAGA territory, one reality check at a time? Buckle up. This one's worth the deep dive.
This weekend, Trump struck a massive trade deal with the EU worth hundreds of billions of dollars. This after Trump's agreement with Japan last week. So you see a pattern here? Trump is solving America's problems one after the other and making cash for us along the way. Trump threatens tariffs at countries given faster than Hunter Biden at Hooker Camp. If you listen to Trump, you knew this would happen. But if you listen to the media, you would be convinced it wouldn't. I wonder, could this be the biggest economic policy-making error of their lifetime?
This may be the biggest economic policy-making error of my lifetime.
I don't think there's a single positive take on this. This is all just bad.
As Mr. Trump's global trade war escalates, so do the odds of a recession.
Donald Trump is single-handedly, unilaterally, and for no reason, plunging America into economic...
Remember when the media lost its mind over Trump's tariffs, predicting economic disaster like fortune tellers with broken crystal balls? MSNBC and CNN rolled out so-called experts who probably should have stuck to balancing grocery bills. They labeled Trump's trade moves as everything but treason. Then boom, $1 trillion in trade. That's right, trillion. Like the economy itself just tipped its hat to Trump. Suddenly, those experts swallowed their words quicker than a lobbyist at a free dinner. With no other option, the media flipped the script, praising the same guy they had roasted nonstop just weeks before. Greg Gutfeld called it out loud and clear. The anti-Trump press was so locked into their doom fantasy, they forgot to look at the scoreboard, and Trump was winning big. They weren't delivering news. They were telling bedtime stories. But reality doesn't care about narratives. It showed up with receipts, profit charts, and a booming bottom line. And when facts hit the table, their fiction fell apart.
Idiots miss the mark more often than Stevie Wonder playing lawn darts. Of course, Armageddon never materialized. Instead, as countries make concessions and our economy takes off, the media is now forced to admit that these evil tariffs are working.
He's been issuing many threats of tariffs, but they clearly have been working.
Absolutely a victory on behalf of the Trump administration.
On this deal, the European Union, this is a big win for the U.S.
It's a triumph of a lot of things. Certainly the president ought to take a victory lap.
The early reviews are in on the new trade deal announced with the European Union. The Financial Times says the deal marks a victory for Trump.
Oh, you know that was hard to say. I mean, Jesse has a harder time saying, "I'll pick up the tab."
You could almost hear the record scratch at MSNBC when they had to admit Trump's tariffs were actually working. The smug looks vanished, replaced by stiff smiles and half-hearted compliments. If they could rewrite the headlines to boost Biden instead, they would have done it yesterday. But the facts hit harder than a reality show meltdown. Greg Gutfeld didn't hold back. The media looked like deer frozen in the glow of their own false narrative, stuck, and completely exposed. They couldn't spin it. They couldn't ignore it. All they could do was awkwardly deliver the truth about Trump's win. It felt like watching hosts forced to rave about a dish made by someone they've trashed for years tastes amazing, but hurts to admit it. Hypocrisy never looked so uncomfortable, and Gutfeld made sure that discomfort was front and center.
One of Trump's biggest critics is admitting the president was right all along.
I, along with probably most people, were saying at the beginning, oh, by the 4th of July, somebody had to think how the the economy was going to be tanked by then. The stock market is at record highs. I know not everybody lives by the stock market. I would have thought, and I got to own it, that these tariffs were going to sink this economy by this time, and they didn't. So, how do we deal with that fact? Because that's the fact.
Bill Maher's eyebrows nearly flew off his face when the numbers dropped record-breaking economy in just 8 months. Even his usual sarcastic smirk had to take a pause. Gutfeld made sure the moment hit hard. Trump isn't just doing well, he's flipping the entire script. Maher and other liberal voices are learning the hard truth. Mockery doesn't age well when results show up. For years, Trump was their go-to punchline. Now they're realizing he might be the only thing holding the whole ring together. Maher hasn't gone full MAGA yet, but let's be honest, he's definitely blushing.
Bill's slowly coming around. I reckon he's a tariff away from sunbathing at Mar-a-Lago. Because we see time and time again, the media quickly brand Trump's moves an impending failure. Then they fall flat on their faces. But Trump's like a pool shark, always thinking 3 shots ahead, positioning himself for a win every week, sinking one ball after another. We'd call him Minnesota Fats if J.B. Pritzker hadn't already called dibs on the name.
Maher says he hasn't flipped, but even Gutfeld knows resistance starts to crumble when real-world results hit hard. You can hear it: frustration, doubt, maybe even a little respect. Maher's rants about the left sound less like criticism, and more like the feed-up words of a guy exhausted from swimming against the current. Gutfeld points to the slow shift happening in plain sight. Bit by bit, Maher's saying what Trump fans have shouted for years. Enough with the chaos. Enough with the fake moral high ground. He's not riding the Trump train yet, but he's pacing beside it, glancing over, thinking, and Gutfeld says that leap. It's coming, loud, proud, and unmitigated.
But Trump's hardline negotiations aren't just successful with tariffs. He's doing the same in Ukraine. Europe is committing billions to buy U.S. arms and send them to Ukraine, and NATO members have increased their defense spending to 5%. While they walked all over Biden like he was already 6 feet under, Trump is getting allies to pay their fair share. Now you're wondering, I thought Trump wanted to end the war. Me too. But if you know that that's not in the cards for now, the next best thing is to monetize the mess. Stop being the piggy bank and instead be.
While Biden tiptoes through foreign policy like he wandered into the wrong costume party, Trump walks in and sets the rules. Europe's finally coughing up its share for Ukraine. Russia now knows America isn't playing diplomat, we're playing to win. Gutfeld pointed out what the media glossed over. Trump's not just throwing around bold words. He's following through when the world is watching. Under Biden, America looked like it had a kick me sign taped to its back. Under Trump, allies need shades because the MAGA glare is blinding. This isn't theory, it's posture. And in the Russia-Ukraine war, Trump's pressure is starting to bend things our way, one deal at a time.
It's all that experience in real estate, but Trump knows how to monetize a problem. He sees some chip paint in the den, and he lowers his offer. He notices a crack in the window, he demands a discount. He sees a creepy neighbor and calls the whole deal off. This instinct works almost everywhere, including college campuses. At home, Trump threatened federal funding after anti-Semitic protesters wreaked havoc on Ivy League campuses. And what happened? Columbia pays $200 million in fines. Harvard is in talks to pay over $500 million. Meanwhile, UCLA will have to pay more than $6 million for allowing protesters to build a Jew exclusion zone. Normally, that's just called a basketball team.
College campuses started looking more like protest carnivals than classrooms. Anti-Israel demonstrations erupted, and Biden might as well have brought marshmallows to toast. But Trump, no snacks, no coddling, no safe zones. Gutfeld gave props where they were due. Trump didn't hand out hugs. He brought the hammer. His approach didn't just slow the chaos, it brought back real consequences. Universities across the country got hit with a reality check, and it didn't come with a latte or a therapy pup. Gutfeld spelled it out. The woke meltdowns finally hit Imaga firewall. Trump didn't just stop the campus circus, he made sure it came with a price tag.
And suddenly hating Jews wasn't so much fun. But that's Trump's gift, to create something valuable out of thin air. He didn't look at these woke colleges and think, wow, this mindset's been around for decades, it's probably hopeless. Nope, he magically comes up with a plan. He slaps a price tag on their behavior. No one's really done that before, at least to my knowledge, and I'm really smart. He realizes that if you can't make bad behavior disappear, then at least charge them for it until they start rethinking the cost of the behavior themselves. You know, we always hear about the carrot and stick approach, using a combo of rewards and punishments to motivate people to do the right thing. But for Trump, the carrot and the stick are the same thing.
Gutfeld locked in on the brilliance of Trump's strategy. Stop rewarding chaos. Under Biden, campus protesters got sympathy, safe spaces, even snacks for anti-Israel demonstrations. Trump flipped that script fast, cutting off the financial safety net for performative outrage. Suddenly, students had to choose between activism and affordability. The impact: less noise, less damage, more accountability. Gutfeld called it a power move where personal responsibility replaced the drama of mob behavior. Trump's message was clear: if your cause matters, pay for it and stand by it. But if you're chasing likes and clout, you'll think twice when the bill shows up. This wasn't about censoring voices, it was about putting some backbone back into public debate. Thanks to Trump, campuses aren't playgrounds for pampered protesters anymore, they're arenas for conviction. Classic MAGA logic. If it costs something, it better mean something.
The difference this time around, I think, is that Trump is making them eat their words, but they are omitting it.
Yeah.
And they can't do anything else. I mean, Trump has had 6 months in office second time around. You could make a very good argument. It's already one of the most transformative presidencies in modern times. He's been there 6 months. So this is a guy, who first time around, I think, was finding his way with the presidency. It was all pretty chaotic. There was a lot of heat on him, Russia collusion, all that nonsense. This time around, he's had 4 years in the wilderness to really plan this. And he's hit the ground. I've spoken to him a few times about this. He just came with a plan. And he was like, I'm not going to be knocked off course. I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to do exactly.
6 months. That's all Trump needed to flip the entire narrative. The economy took off, the borders held strong, and the woke agenda hit wall after wall. Gutfeld didn't sugarcoat it, he spelled it out with fire. Trump didn't just perform, he crushed the media's favorite lies. CNN and MSNBC bet on collapse. Instead, they got stability. They braced for failure. What they saw was progress. Pundits had to sit and watch as wins piled up wins they never saw coming. They waited for gaffes to mock, scandals to hype, or policy flops to drag. Instead, Trump handed them victories clear, undeniable. Manufacturing came back. Immigration got handled. Every punch they threw turned into a headline he owned. Now the media's stuck reporting success they swore would never exist. Trump's America, it's thriving. And Gutfeld, he didn't gloat, he incinerated. Because there's nothing sweeter than watching your loudest critics choke on the very results they tried to destroy.
When they come to town, this time, hardly any protests. In fact, they liked him there. And when he started speaking with the British Prime Minister, he started saying, you know what, I just think that running a country's easy. And of course, my Prime Minister was like, is it? He's been having a clinker of a time. And he said, you just lower taxes, you just, strong on the border, you're tough on immigration, you have fewer foreign wars. And all the people in the UK were going, this sounds.
6 months. That's all Trump needed to flip the entire narrative. The economy took off, the borders held strong, and the woke agenda hit wall after wall. Gutfeld didn't sugarcoat it, he spelled it out with fire. Trump didn't just perform, he crushed the media's favorite lies. CNN and MSNBC bet on collapse. Instead, they got stability. They braced for failure. What they saw was progress. Pundits had to sit and watch as wins piled up wins they never saw coming. They waited for gaffes to mock, scandals to hype, or policy flops to drag. Instead, Trump handed them victories clear, undeniable. Manufacturing came back. Immigration got handled. Every punch they threw turned into a headline he owned. Now the media's stuck reporting success they swore would never exist. Trump's America, it's thriving. And Gutfeld, he didn't gloat, he incinerated. Because there's nothing sweeter than watching your loudest critics choke on the very results they tried to destroy.
You just gave me an idea, Congresswoman. Shouldn't Trump run a master class on running a country on YouTube? You know those master classes?
Yes.
You sign up, you pay $500,000, and you just listen to him, and he goes, this is what you do. This is what you do. What do you make of what he's been doing to the Ivy League?
Well, certainly this is an issue. You all remember that horrific hearing with those Ivy League presidents, former presidents, after I asked them questions.
Yeah.
President Trump has been tremendous holding them accountable, and I think this was a real turning point in higher education. And it really epitomizes how far to the left radical academia has become. And that's not what people want. That's not what parents want. And that's not what we want our next generation of leaders. So President Trump has kept his promises and is holding them.
Kamala Harris feels like the substitute teacher nobody wants. AOOC. All slogans. Zero depth. Gavin Newsom. More hair gel than real solutions. Gutfeld didn't hold back because why would he? The Democrats aren't leading. They're floundering. Kamala's time as border czar. A total mess. No plan, no results, no clue. AOC's Green New Deal still hasn't left the launch pad. And Newsom's California. Homelessness up, businesses gone, crime thriving. Gutfeld summed it up. They don't need applause, they need a crash course in leadership. Loud promises, louder failures. That's the new party brand. Now here we are. The media, humbled. The left, exposed by its own contradictions. And Trump, still rising, still winning. Gutfeld didn't just defend him. He lit up the paper castle, built on anti-Trump drama. Even Bill Maher's starting to question the story he used to sell. This isn't just a win for